Let's get into the big subject of tonight, guys, because this is going to be a long one. This is going to be a long one because for those of you who haven't been following the VShojo news or know anything like this, this here is Mountain Dew. Mountain Dew was the former CFO, COO, C something, CMO, all the MOs of VShojo. This is a man that has been brought up on multiple occasions because just to remind people, roughly 2 months prior to all the VShojo stuff going down, he left the company. After 5 years, I'm leaving VShojo. He was an individual who was steeped in all this. This is a man that is very tied to the VShojo drama right now. In fact, we can come over here to Vebe, for example, who openly talked about how Mountain Dew was one of the individuals that was going around spreading lies and rumors about her over on 4chan and utilizing 4chan bots to spurg out about her. We have, I believe, not Niera, that's another person. Natasha Nanners over here saying Mountain Dew had the audacity to talk shit about you to my face at a party the year that we all left and painted you as some kind of conniving, greedy, mean girl who was in my ear and manipulated me into leaving VShojo just because you wanted me to join OTK because her boyfriend Soda is a part of the org or for personal gain or some shit. This was something that Mountain Dew was notorious for doing. We have other individuals pretty much without saying his name, but, you know, hinting and winking that Mountain Dew was never actually doing his job. He would spend more time sitting in like VCs playing video games. He was not good at his job and all that, and all sorts of other crazy nonsense there. And the reason why I am bringing this all up is because, well, Mountain Dew has very much been trying to cut all ties with VShojo as much as possible, distance himself as much as possible, and try to, well, for lack of a better term, stab Gunrun in the back to try to make himself look like the good person here, and definitely not a part of anything. I want to remind you guys on one particular tweet, but I actually can't. Because there was a tweet that did go out, and I wish I had the screenshot of it, where Mountain Dew said, nah, brah, this ain't it. What the F, Gunrun, something of that nature. And Legal Mindset just pointed out, leaving the company 2 months ago does not absolve a former officer of potential liability for past actions. I believe this tweet was up just 2 days ago. Just 2 days ago, I believe that tweet was still up. So why delete it when you have this new thing coming out here? And we do have Mountain Dew has actively harassed and defamed VShojo talents during time. He does not address any of this in the document. And I'm making this point is because past tweet also got community noted. This got community noted. But let's take a good look at this Google Docu right here. It is long, but it's not as long as you guys might think, and it's mainly just him crying the whole time. And it really does kind of read as a spurned, scorned lover stabbing somebody in the back to try to save themselves. Like if I'm gonna go like sort of an analogy here, if you know, like, One Piece, and I love One Piece, and I'm using this just as an analogy here, he feels kind of like Caribou from One Piece, who's a slimy, sneveling, conniving jackass who you just want to get out of the story no matter what, even if he's relevant to what's going on right now in the manga or some of the stuff that's going on in the manga. Doesn't matter. He's sniving, sniveling, very deceitful. You could see right through it. And you just hate him. You know, the guy who will definitely stab you in the back on a moment's notice. That's what this really reads as, and that's what Mountain Dew is coming off as right now. It always seems like every week there's some new VTuber drama. Oh, yes, there is, Cloud. Yes, there is. But let's read through this. My time at VShojo. Hey all, before we get started, I want to take the chance to thank all my friends, former talent, former staff, and other streamers slash industry that I've been in communication with who know myself and my role within the company. By the way, I highly doubt any former talents have come out and actually addressed this. There might be one, now that I think about that. But that's a story for another time. I'm not going to dive too deep into that one right now because those are just allegations on that particular person. But let's keep going forward. You have all been wonderful through this tough time. I also want to thank the many people within the community who have been supportive throughout this time and have stood with me while this gets sorted. I have spent the following month gathering countless documents. I just went forward and it all jumped on me. And what I had access to in order to have clear, concise records of my involvement with the company and have provided a small fraction below. I 100% believe that he's altering a lot of these things that he shows off. He's not showing all the relevant information and he's trying to position himself in a good light. Transparency and misrepresentation. There was once a time where I was extremely proud about what I helped initially build. There was a lot of hard work and planning involved, and I took a lot of pride in my role in launching the company, but I now simply feel misled, disappointed, and betrayed by those involved. The fact that this had happened all is troubling, to say the least, and I feel deeply for those who were affected by this. If anyone affected needs testimony, evidence, or other material assistance with actions against VShojo, I am more than willing to do what I can to assist. I may have documentation or records relevant to cases and am happy to see what I have. Again, we already know he wasn't really wanting to do a lot of his work behind the scenes. We have a lot of people pointing out that, hey, we knew these people, you know, we were trying to get them to do work. They weren't wanting to do it. There was individuals, and I don't remember who exactly said it. I don't remember if it was Mousy, Giga, who pointed out, we can point to everybody that was always caught in VC just playing video games. There's a lot of people that hinted heavily that Mountain Dew would just sit in VC all day and play a bunch of video games. He was never actually doing any work at all. So when I read something like this paragraph here, this feels like, hey guys, I'm one of the good ones. I'm one of the good ones. Trust me, I'm one of the good ones. As he's driving that dagger straight into his Gunrun's back. That's what I read right now. He's trying to save his own ass right now, and I don't think it's gonna work. I've also considered taking my own shareholder action against the company, which I won't rule out at this time. I have to consider action against those that have engaged in defamation against my character, although I am hopeful that we can resolve those matters privately and amicably. What was that? I've also considered taking my own shareholder action against the company, which I won't rule out at this time. I also have to consider action against those who have engaged in defamation against my character. Who's been engaging in defamation against you, buddy? Who? Come on, name them. Name them. Because, I don't think anybody was engaging in defamation against your character, because this feels like a shot at Nianas, Vebe, and Aethel, who all came out and called out Mountain Dew for his bad actions. They all came out. Several people were coming out and hinting that Mountain Dew was not a good person. And by the way, he's going to get into a small aspect of it. It doesn't... your excuse for your actions of employing bots over on 4chan and everything doesn't hold up. It's not a justification. It still is bad, and everybody who called you out rightfully did it. You are not a good person in this. I don't think they defamed you at all, especially with what your excuse is here. That's not an excuse or a justification. That's just you admitting to being a bad person. That being said, I was never made aware that the talent funds were intermingled with the company's operating expenses. Now, I'm saying this because I don't remember if he was the CMO, COO, or a financial officer. That doesn't matter. Okay, you were a C something whatever. You were an officer. You were an executive. Doesn't matter if you didn't know the particulars. You are being pulled into this. I don't believe that you didn't know anything. You were one of the founding members. You were one of the people that helped put this together. I don't believe this. And he's going to go on and say that he was never brought up in any of these things. I call bullshit. Any budget that was used for marketing was a direct result of asking for that amount and either being approved or denied. I had extremely limited financial access, only for small marketing approvals, never broad account or operations. I have evidence of this from the third parties that I have worked with for marketing media while at the company. I have never had access to bank accounts, nor was made aware in meetings about the way finances were being used. What I had been made aware of is that the company was running out of money and needed another round of individuals who had access to company bank accounts where the the only individuals who had access to company bank accounts were the CEO, the COO, and the financial department. I don't believe you. Do you call balls and stripes? Yes, I call balls and stripes. I'm gonna say it. Had I have become aware, that feels like a bad sentence, but I guess it's correct. I can't say it. Had I become aware of financial misuse, I would have exited the company immediately and began to speak with legal counsel and to talent about the misuse of their funds. My role and authority. There are a lot of misconceptions about my role at the company. Some people have stated that I was the CEO, the COO, which is false. The two titles at the company that I was assigned were CTO, Chief Technology Officer, and later CMO, Chief Marketing Officer. The change in position was due to an internal company pivot in which the direction of the company assigned the role of CTO to another staff member and subsequently assigned myself to CMO. All I feel like right there, again, because we know you weren't really doing your job that well. And let's say that you are the marketing officer in this, then you were the person that signed off on that Shinjuku deal. To do the whole, try to market all over the Shinjuku station, the train station and everything like that. That $11 million deal, I believe that was, or maybe that was $9 million. I keep getting the numbers all mixed up all over the place, but you okayed that. You pushed that through, because if you were the CMO at the time, then that would have been you. But when it comes to Chief Technology Officer, okay, you weren't good at your job. We have several individuals saying you weren't good at your job. So all this really feels like is they were trying to get you to a position so that you could do something, and you still were sucking at it. I was assigned these titles, but recently discovered it's not entirely clear if these titles were legally or formally recognized. In terms of seniority, I was not on the board of directors despite assisting in launching the company. I would also like to note at this time that the entire company was remote and no in-person office was ever in use. This is a actually important thing to note, because I believe it was Legal Mindset, and Rima Evenstar brought this up in her stream on this particular topic. Legal Mindset has stated, now check me in the comments, check me on this, please, somebody check me. Legal Mindset has apparently stated that in California business law, if you are a business that operates in California, you must have an actual office in California. You must actually have some sort of building in California, which is deranged to say the least, because most California jobs don't actually, do anything, and they do work remote, but that's besides the point here. But you must operate in California. So if he's coming out here stating that they didn't actually have an office, that's not good. That's actually really bad. And that actually goes directly to more criminal liability and everything like that. And if you give me 1 second, I should have pulled this up. It also kind of goes contrary to things that VShojo has stated in the past and done in the past. Because if you go over to their YouTube account, where is the VShojo YouTube account? Right here. We go videos, and we're gonna scroll down here because they put out a series of videos. Maybe it's in playlist. Maybe no, that's on a playlist. So let's keep scrolling through their videos real quick, because they put out a couple videos right here from a year ago to try to prove that they actually were doing things in the office and that they were producing stuff in the office. And to be fair, this stuff doesn't really feel natural. So we have this, and I'm only going to play a little bit of it, and I'm going to point something out.
I'm Code Blue, head of security here at VShojo.
It's protocol, you know. I go through. Don't worry, have fun at work. You know, all right. Hey, how's it going? Looking clean. Damn. Sorry. Come on, sorry, dude.
Now, there's a lot of valuable assets here, so run a pretty tight ship, okay?
Unacceptable.
Well, I want to pause right there real quick and just go back, because I don't know who this black guy is, okay? I'm not trying to be mean there. I know who she is. This is the real telling part, because I see Cloud in the chat. He probably knows who she is. That's Funhouse. That's our Funhouse lady. Because a lot of the people that were working here were actually from Funhouse. And we can go into this one, I want to say. And again, I'm not playing like the whole thing. If I can get this to work right, we can actually see an interesting character here as well in the second video. I think it's right here.
This was supposed to be a one-day shoot, so.
This dude's Mountain Dew. So this is relevant because, one, these are Funhouse employees. These are Funhouse actors. Almost everybody here is an actor. And they were putting these out to try to show that they had offices, but in reality, they didn't. And I know who this person is. She's the wife of one of the former Funhouse people, and I can't remember her name right now. Cloud, if you can remind me, that'd be awesome. That's her. That's her right there. So you had Funhouse people coming in here to act like you guys had an office when you guys were supposed to have an office, but you didn't have an office. Oh, that's great. Upon a recent investigation on registered documents from the company that have been unearthed, I do not know now if I was ever legally considered CMO or any officer title. It was just a title that I was given internally, which is not something that I was aware nor would have found acceptable. I probably would have found acceptable, brutally honest with you. And we have this right here: state of California, state of information, blah, 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 blah. Some things are blocked out. I don't quite know what this is, but corporate name, entity, VShojo, all that. Obviously formed in Delaware, because all businesses are formed in Delaware, mainly due to tax purposes. And officer name, Daniel Sanders, Justin Ignacio, chief executive officer, security chief financial officer, no other C's. So I don't know if these are relevant, so I'll wait till Legal Mindset puts out a fast facts on this, because he probably will if he hasn't already, but I'm willing to bet that there's some more interesting details on all this. Initially, when launching the company, I blindly put my trust into these people that they were doing everything correct in terms of structure and finance. In hindsight, the trust was misplaced. Below, I have also attached a series of screenshots of documents from a failed merger in 2024 that only lists the CEO and the COO as officers and members of the board, that does not include any mention of myself within the company structure. And bro, I stopped watching Funhouse when it was shown that Adam Kovic, the other dude, this was the person that was married to like the person in charge of Funhouse. That's what I can remember. I can't remember any of their names though. But where's the material facts as the direct? See, like, this is the part that I don't like about your document right here, is you only have like crop screenshots here. Like these are obviously two very different things right here. But where's the material fact as to the director's relationship or interests as the merger and other transactions authorized and approved in the proceedings resolution have been previously disclosed to the board and to the stockholders and are known to the board and stockholders, including without limitation the following: Daniel Sanders, the Chief Operating Officer; Justin Ignacio, the Chief Executive Officer. Holders of company common stock and preferred stock are currently anticipating to receive stock considerations as set forth in the merger agreement. It witness where each of the undersigned has executive the consent of stockholders, blah, 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 blah. But we end up getting Justin Ignacio, Daniel Sanders. We end up seeing like screenshots of stuff like this. Like, he's putting this in here to say like, these were the two main people, these were the two main people, these were the two main people. I was never an officer or an executive individual. That's the main purpose that all these are actually in here, and that's what really is the bulk of this is him trying to show off that they didn't consider me an executive, so I had no idea. But again, I'm pointing this out, like, there's these, and these are all like screenshots and cropped images, so I don't know if there's any more information here. And simultaneously, I'm not a corporate attorney of any sort, so that's why I'm going to mainly be waiting till Legal Mindset comes out here to discuss more about this, because Legal Mindset was a corporate attorney. He'll probably have an interesting fast facts on this if he doesn't already have one out at the time of recording this, that probably would break this down a whole lot better than I could ever do it. So that's why I'm mainly just skipping on that, because I can already see what the whole purpose of doing that is primarily just to like try to show that he was not considered an executive. I don't know if that's actually relevant or at all important to this, because I don't know if a CMO or a CTO has to actually sign off on any of these merger documents or any of these legal documents right here. It doesn't really make much sense to a layman like myself, but hey, I could be entirely wrong there. Well, there was two Adams at Funhouse. God, there was two Adams. There was Adam Kovic, and then there was the other Adam, I believe. The guy that was married to the blonde chick. I can never remember their names. I have also attached in this entry a copy of the board consent form from the initial VShojo stock option adoption plan, which can be found here. This document, which I have obtained, is dated February 27th, 2021, and must be signed by all the members of the board to proceed. It has signatures from the CEO and COO respectively. Again, I don't know if that's important or not. Wait till LM comes out. From the start, I felt as if I was always unfairly sidelined in terms of role and influence within the company. Any criticism I had always felt as if they fell on deaf ears, and as time went on, the staff expanded, and I felt more and more sidelined within the company. I'm just gonna say, they were famously saying, talents, everybody was saying you weren't really doing your job, you were just there playing games. So if you weren't doing your job, they had to expand the staff and you were getting more and more sidelined. I think they were trying to actually push you out. My role in the company more or less began to feel like an employee that just did marketing and a few other tasks when needed, as opposed to someone who assisted in getting everything off the ground. I feel as if there was not a lot of honesty and transparency about certain happenings within the company, and I now believe that some things I was told were not the truth. Things such as information about Talent's behaviors and the reason for Talent's departure was information that was presented to me by the founders. This directly influenced my beliefs and feelings about the Talent, and I now believe, based on new findings, that the information presented to me was untrue. That's a clear cut excuse for why he did what he did. To remind everybody, Mountain Dew was the person that went to 4chan, that was going out there employing a bunch of rats to spread rumors, lies, and accusations about Silvervale, Vebay, Neanners. All of them was trying to destroy them reputationally. He was the one going out there and doing that. And now he's coming out here trying to say that, oh my God, I got all that facts from Gun Run. That was all Gun Run. Knowing what I know now, obviously it was Gun Run. He lied to me. See, that does not excuse you for doing what you did, the reputational harm you caused. That's not an excuse to then go to 4chan and spread out a bunch of lies and mistruths about these people to destroy them, to destroy their reputation and to destroy everything that they did. That is not okay. Doesn't matter what if the information that you got was wrong or not, you still did it. You still did it, and you're still a scumbag. That's why, again, this all feels like he's trying to justify his actions, trying to separate himself as much as possible, and this feels like a big old dagger to the back of Gun Run right now. Doesn't mean I like Gun Run and I'm defending Gun Run here. Gun Run, again, I want generational debt for. But this right here seems as scummy can be. There were many projects and pivots that I learned about only after they were in motion and were approved by the board. Things such as a pivot to a social media style website service at one point and a full company merger, both of which I strongly opposed, are amongst a few examples where I would be notified subsequently to the work beginning. I don't believe that you actually opposed them. There were times where I was asked to sign documents without adequate time to get them reviewed by an attorney and told that it could potentially lead to my removal from the company. I was told that it was needed for the success of the company with minimal and insufficient details, an example being the aforementioned merger above. Wait. I didn't catch this when I was listening to Rima read this and some other people read this as well. Wait a minute. And also when I did my first run through. There were times where I was asked to sign documents without adequate time to get them reviewed by an attorney and told that it could potentially lead to my removal from the company. An example being the aforementioned merger above. I thought all the executives had to sign all these documents. I thought executives were supposed to sign these documents. That's one of the key things there, was that an executive was supposed to be signing those documents. So if you're going to be sitting here and telling me that you were still told to sign these documents and only executives were, but I didn't feel like an executive. If you're now sitting here telling me that you did sign these documents, wouldn't that make you an executive? Like, am I the dum-dum here, or is he contradicting himself here? Because the whole point of showing those was they never viewed me as an executive, guys. The executives were supposed to sign off on all this stuff, but they told me I have to sign off on these things. So you were an executive, right? Right? Again, I think this whole thing right here is doing a whole lot more damage than he thinks it is. In the final years at the company, I did not directly speak with the CEO one-on-one in any capacity, only the COO weekly. I will say this has been confirmed by a lot of other people to be true. Like, it was not Like, I could believe like this was actually happening. Even Zentrea has come out and said like, hey, it was nearly impossible to even talk to you. So I could believe that part. But again, the more I think about it, the more it feels like you're just saying those things. The more it feels like you're just using that to try to drum up sympathy and be like, I was dealing with the same stuff you guys were dealing with. See, they didn't respect me either. That's what this all feels like right here. This was likely due to the fact that I would be extremely critical about decisions made in the company and the lack thereof scaling in ways that I believe made sense. The CEO had a habit of putting other staff in front of him when faced with adversity. Again, that's something that Zentrea has actually stated as happening to her. So but it just feels like you're trying to drum up sympathy. That's what it feels like to me. I know I'm being very critical here, and I could entirely be getting this wrong. It feels like you're trying to drum up sympathy. An example of such was that they would often put other staff in front of talent for communication whenever possible, especially in the final months of the company when significant criticism arose. Wait. Again, goes straight to what Zentrea was saying, but especially in the final months of the company when significant criticism arose. So, well, I mean, you probably did have people inside this thing still telling you about that, but it feels like you're just reiterating what Zen was saying. Dismissal and aftermath. On May 1st, 2025, I was called into a sudden meeting with members of the board where I was informed that my alleged position of CMO was being removed from the company, along with 4 other employees' positions, one of which being the financial manager. As a cost-cutting measure, during this meeting, it was also conveyed to me that the COO would be stepping down for unknown reasons. Because you guys were in dire shit. You guys have been in dire shit since 2021. And the company was made in 2020. You guys weren't paying people out since 2021. Since Vebe was there, since Silvervale was there, since Neanders were there, they weren't getting paid. So I really find this hard for anybody to be saying, well, we didn't know about the financials. People weren't being paid back in 2021. It was agreed upon that the statement I would make publicly would be written in a way to make the departure look more favorable for the company and myself, as so as to not raise any alarm bells about the health of the company or create speculation. Given my growing distrust with the board up to this point due to talent departures, I have recorded notes and transcripts from these meetings that I have retained for my records. Why don't you put them out? Why don't you put them out? Like, if you really want us to believe that you had nothing to do with anything involved here, why don't you just put that stuff out? I'm being serious here. If you're trying your hardest to separate yourself as much as possible, put that stuff out there. Just saying. From about May 15th, 2025, all my access to my company email addresses I had was revoked, and I departed every server, Slack, and company-related software to move on to beginning working on a personal endeavor. I assumed that the company would just simply run out of money in a few months, would post a statement about closure, and I would be grateful that it was a good run. Well, they did kind of do that. Just saying. From this point, I began planning and working on my own non-VTuber project to launch in late July to early August and have it hopefully launch before the company would assumably go under or be sold. Well, you had your chance and you failed. On July 2nd, 2025, I did a check-in with the CEO to see if anything, I just lost it. I did a check-in with the CEO. Where did it go? Oh, right up here. It's jumped me again. to see if anything that would be happening in the company that could conflict with the launch of my project. Why? Wait, why are you checking in with the CEO to make sure that it's not going to affect your project like that? See, there's things here that aren't adding up to me. There's things here that don't make very much sense. Hey, Owen, bro, how you doing? Hey, brother, I have a little bit of a request from you. I have a pretty large forward-facing thing I'm working on this month that is slated for late July, early August. Can you keep me up to date on anything large-scale that might be happening at VShojo around that time, whether good or bad? Company dissolution, new members joining, members leaving, company sale, etc. Need to have all that on my radar in case I need to move times and things around. Hope you've been well. I don't know why you separated from the company. Why would it matter? Why would it matter? I was told to check in after Anime Expo, in which I did, and was redirected to a new staff member that was allegedly hired after my release. I have censored their name as they were a new hire. In typical fashion, someone was to be put between myself and the CEO for communication and would not clearly tell me what was potentially going on. This is the final time I have had any contact with the CEO. Hey, Mountain Dew, connecting with you, do whatever. He's been taking over for more VShojo leadership things and can keep you better up to speed. Hey there, so doing a check-in, there's going to be an upcoming negative news, any upcoming negative news or the like over the next 30 or so days, so I can prepare in advance as I look to launch a new public-facing project in that window. I'd say the answer is probably yes. One way or another, there's going to be some negative stuff publicly. I can't say what. This sounds like a cover-up? Yeah. This all sounds like a cover-up. It sounds like it sounds like he was aware that it was going down the shitter a whole lot more, and he's just trying to justify why he's not to blame for why it went down the shitter. It really does feel like he's trying to cut as many ties, but I don't think it's gonna work. Again, I've said it multiple times. He's stabbing Gunrun in the back here. He's stabbing everybody in the back to save his own ass. It's the rat trying to flee the ship before it sinks. That's what it is. But the ship's sinking, the ship's going down, and he's one of the last people. He's one of the last rats trying to run away, and it ain't working. It ain't working, in my opinion. On July 21st, 2025, a statement went out about the company not paying out charity money that was owed to the IDF. Not that one. God damn it. The following message exchange can be seen shortly after. Well, Mouse just posted a thing without any advance notice, so heads up. Well aware from the large amount of DMs and texts I'm getting. Sad day. Can I get some context here, as this is the first time I'm hearing about any of this bullshit? VShojo owes a lot of money to talents. I don't know when you were involved with the company, but it's been an ongoing known issue for years, and the charity payment is related. By the way, it was known since 2021. 2020 fucking one. You probably have more context than me, I suspect, but also I'm not sure what your relationship was with the company, and when that gets cut off, and when company and when VShojo ran out of money some time ago and has been operating with what was supposed to be talent money, hence causing the current situation. I was never made aware of this being an issue from both CEO and COO. I was aware that there was financial issues, but not outstanding payments, especially for charity. Again, I call bullshit. You knew that there was financial issues. You knew that it was. See, I was never made aware of this being an issue from both CEO or COO. I was aware there was financial issues. You were well aware of what was going on. I call bullshit on all of this nonsense. Excuse me, Like I said, I don't know what your relationship is or was or what your role was, but these issues have been ongoing for most of the past year, as far as I know, since sometime 2024, 2021. You'll have to ask Justin. I've been here 3.5 weeks, so I'm just learning and navigating through this as best as I can. You're still hiring people when you know the company's going down. God damn. Gunrun, like I said, in the executive branch, Mountain Dew, Gunrun, all these people, there's no heroes amongst them. They're all vile. They're all awful. I've said it once and I'll say it again. I want generational debt for these losers. Please, for the love of God, give me generational debt. This is this exchange, and I'm scrolling in to get better view of everything. This exchange shows when I first became aware of the issue of unpaid charity funds, as well as what funds the company was operating on. This was infuriating to me, as it revealed financial misuse that had been hidden from me during my tenure at the company and was revealed after the fact. Again, I call bullshit. I have many opinions about the way the company was run over the years, as well as the decisions that were made by the board. I feel that one day I will share my opinion on the decision that I believe caused the company to collapse financially, the things I would have changed structurally as the company was run, and some of what I feel was the sheer incompetence of the board. Why don't you share it now? Why don't you share that now? Again, this is your whole time to try to separate as much as possible from VShojo, to try to explain why you aren't, somebody that needs to be brought up on charges, why you don't need to be investigated, why you're one of the good ones here. This is your excuses for all of that, why you're a good person. Bring it up now. Bring it up now. Your excuse as to why you were running around telling all the rats to go out there and post shit about everybody else was, well, I was given bad info from the management. That's my excuse there. That wasn't an excuse. That's not a justification. That doesn't excuse your behavior. You still were a jackass there. You're still a bad person there. Nothing here actually is defending you. Everything here is just further pulling you down. Evidence retained. I've retained supporting documentation, including but not limited to meeting transcripts and notes, corporate filings that show only the CEO and COO as board members, various contracts, a statement of information listing only the CEO and COO with no mention of myself as an officer. Okay, show it now. Show it now. God damn. People... This is just like Adora. This is just like Radia. This is just like all of them. Why the fuck aren't you guys just showing us the info now? This is your opportunity to do it. Show it now. Saying that you have it doesn't really make much sense. Show it. You're trying to ingratiate yourself with everybody. Help everybody out. Show it. Drop the information. Do it. I dare you. I dare you. These materials confirm that I was not a registered director of the company and likely not an officer despite the titles I was given internally. I also have former staff and former talent that can corroborate the things that I have made clear in this statement, as well as a multitude of other individuals who can confirm these statements. I want to know what talent is actually going to be defending you here. You say you have talent willing to defend you. I want a name. I will say there is allegations of one talent. There's allegations. There's no proof. There's allegations. I saw the Mujin video. Should have reacted to the Mujin video, but I saw the Mujin video. There's one talent in particular, and it was the talent that communicated with Nuxtaku a lot, and the exact talent that got Iron Mouse on board with VShojo. Not gonna say any names, I'm just gonna say there is a talent who hasn't really been talking much. I'm just gonna leave it there. Closing. Once again, I would like to emphasize that my role in the company was not as broad as some have suggested. I was never given access to finances, nor was I ever a part of board level decisions. My responsibility was limited to technology and marketing under the approval of the board. I was made aware that the company needed investment, but not that talent funds were being involved in operations. I'm so grateful for the large amount of support from friends, talent, staff, and community members during this time. I will continue to stand with those who were most impacted and assist however I can. I'm still really excited for the things that I have planned coming up, and I hope to show you all soon. And we see all this, okay? We see all this. I do want to go back to this where he says, let's talk about my time in VShojo. Turn comments off. Before he dropped it, he turned off the comments. Now, I have some quote tweets, obviously, because nothing's really making much sense here, and people are pointing out like a lot of the inconsistency here. We have Mujin. Cool story, bro. Funny that you decided to lock replies. Now, how about you tell us why you constantly shit-talked your own talent behind their back, pitted them against one another, and have had many people in the industry hint that you're a sex pest? We have Azehara right here. By the way, I see that you failed to address two elephant corpses in the room. One, the sex pest allegations, which apparently every member of VShojo knows about, but none of them has said shit and just keep vague posting about. Don't ask me what they are, but one of the talents was insinuating that you are a PDO. By the way, that was, I believe, Vebe, and she deleted that, so I will say that one was not a good one. That one's not a good one. Another person related to another talent hinted that you had possibly committed SA, but he also refrained from saying anything. You were trying to ruin the reputation of talents that left in a way to cripple any and all chances they had on their own. This confirmed by Neanners that you were talking shit about Vey and Silvervale to her face after they left. Remember that this is things that were happening. And then we got expert armchair here, okay? We got expert armchair. But he has a long post here, but good points of contention. Points of interest. Confirms that VShojo was in the middle of pursuing a merger in 2024 that would have granted both Gunrun and Daniel Sanders a golden parachute totaling over $2 million each. However, Mountain Dew does not specify what company VShojo would be merging with. This may corroborate rumors floating around earlier this year that Brave and VShojo were previously in talks. States that VShojo was entirely remote with no in-person office ever in use. States that this role were only listed as CTO and later CMO when this company appointed another staff member to the position of CTO. This staff member was presumably Fujiman. Excuse me again. Though he left sometime prior to the closure of VStream in March 2024, Mountain Dew states that he could not have had any knowledge of financial misuse because of the limitations of his role. He states that he was only aware that the company was running out of money, though he does not specify at what point he became aware of this. Fujiman's tweet responding to Gunrun's statement on the 25th of July, which stated that while he was there, the company finances were such a mess that I could almost believe him. Gunrun, when he forgot about the 500K was intended for, this would seem to indicate that members of C-suite beside the CEO and COO would have had cause to believe that the company had money troubles prior to March 2024. People weren't being paid in 2021. How many times does anybody have to come out here and say this? People weren't being paid as far back as 2021. Neanners was talking about that. Vebe was talking about that. I don't believe Silvervale brought that up, but so many people brought up the fact they weren't being paid when the company was first being started. enough of this whole knocking around that, hey, there were financial troubles were like started a little bit before 2024. We know it was back in 2021. Sidesteps entirely the allegations leveled by ex-talent that he engaged in slander and backchat against them after their departure from the company. Also does not touch on the claims of being reprimanded for making talents uncomfortable in DMs or alleged conduct during the VShojo parties. Closest thing the document does to addressing either of these points is a sentence at the start where he states, I also have to consider action against those that have engaged in defamation against my character. And later on, when Mountain Dew states that things such as information about talent's behavior and the reasons for talent's departure was information that was presented to me by the founders, this directly influenced my beliefs and feelings about the talents, and I now believe, based on new findings, that the information presented to me was untrue. But here's the things that the questions that are remaining, though. And boy, can we please space out these bullet points just to make it a whole lot easier to read. Questions that remain. Who was the other party in the merger that fell through in 2024? Who brought Daniel Sanders into the fold? And what kept him there? This is especially pertinent given his dubious qualifications for his position. His own startup failed in 2020, and his law license expired in 2021 in spite of ex-talent's alleging that he was acting as VShojo's in-house lawyer, even past the point, and even more so considering he was apparently one of the two board members, the other being Gunrun, with a financial stake in the company. Jesus Christ, that was a mouthful. If VShojo had no in-person office, where did they film the skits that they did for Michi's pre-debut video? Did they rent out places specifically for filming, or is this a lie and lie/inaccuracy? And again, these go to all these right here. Part of me wonders, because these were filmed back last year, back in April 15th, 2024. And I'm mainly asking this, okay? And I'm gonna do a quick look. I'm gonna do a quick look, okay? April 26th, 2024. April 15th, 2024. I'm making a claim here. And this is just me assuming, because a lot of people involved in these videos were from Funhouse. Funhouse shut down in April 26th, 2024. Okay? That's when Funhouse shut down. Furthermore, Rooster Teeth ended up shutting down a little bit later, but they shut down in April. This was filmed April 15th. This was filmed 10 days prior to, or this was launched 10 days prior to all this. This was obviously filmed well before they actually launched all this stuff. I'm bringing this up because a lot of people involved in this are from Funhouse. I know for a fact she was a Funhouse member. I know for a fact. I just can't remember her name, which is driving me up a goddamn wall. There's a chance that they were just working with Funhouse to try to make it look like they had offices. That's just me throwing the allegation out there. I have nothing really to back up my claim there. That's just me speculating. I don't like to speculate, but I'm just... You know, I'm seeing a couple threads here. I'm just piecing them together. Film these skits, specifically the filming. Yeah. What exactly did the founders tell Mountain Dew about the departing talents, and what did Mountain Dew do with that information? How did he act on it? Are there receipts of his backcheck taking place? And if so, why hasn't Mountain Dew shared them? How many people within the company were aware of the fact that VShojo had financial troubles, albeit not necessarily financial misuse, prior to opening auditions in July of 2024? Tori Orion said that she was left completely unaware of this until she chanced upon the information while attending Offkai in June 2025. This was somebody that actually did, participate in the auditions, was actually going to be brought onto the company, succeeded, went all the way there, didn't perform, shut down all PLs, did everything, and then doesn't find out until Offkai 2025 that the company's not going to be moving forward. Yeah. Mountain Dew, you could have helped her. Could have helped her. Fujiman stated that he and presumably other executives had knowledge of this at least by March of 2024. It's so exoneration. It's no exoneration to say that a great deal of those who auditioned for the company. Oh, it's no exaggeration to say that a great deal of those who auditioned for the company and who put their careers on hold in the hopes of debuting under it likely would have chosen differently had they been privy to this information. Overall, the document admittedly comes off more like a spurned executive complaining about how he was let out of the room while the big boys tried on their golden parachutes rather than a genuine attempt to inform the public. Mountain Dew does, however, allude to possessing more useful information, though it remains to be seen if this will ever actually be shared. I'm going to say it right now. I agree that this feels like a spurned lover of some sort. I think this was him trying to ingratiate himself with other people and try to get people to quit calling him out. Try to get people to quit trying to dunk on him, because like I pointed out earlier, he deleted his whole, hey, this isn't it, bro, or hey, what are you doing, gun run. He deleted that because when we actually go over to his Twitter account, it's gone. Oh, well, let me do this in a different way. We can go to his Twitter account. That tweet, it's gone. In fact, when you look at this, it goes, let's talk about my time at VShojo, and then me leaving. May 14th, August 26th. There's a lot of posts there, boy, that are gone. A lot of posts. And we know at least one of those posts. I brought it up on streams. I've mentioned it before. We know that this post exists, and it's gone. Just gone. This feels like him trying to defend himself, trying to ingratiate himself with everybody else, and trying to cover his own ass right now. That's what this feels like. When you're reading through this feels like I'm just as in the dark as you guys, and you shouldn't come after me. You shouldn't drag me through the courts. You shouldn't be blaming me. I'm like all of you guys. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like him actually taking accountability. It doesn't feel like him actually trying to go out there and prove that he has no actual ties to anything. This just feels like him trying to make an excuse. That's it.